Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. This is Ingram Jones. There's lots to catch up on boxing. Let's talk about it here on BWTM Sports Gaming. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. If you haven't subscribed, do smash the like button, do smash the subscribe button, and do smash the notification bell. If you already are subscribed, listen, there are many of you that are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. 42% of you have not hit that notification bell. So make sure you smash the notification bell, even if you are subscribed. And even if you think you're subscribed, make sure you go back and subscribe. YouTube have played a lot of naughty games with us at the moment, and we just have to keep pushing and keep probing and keep going. So your support is appreciated. Okay, so tonight's show we're gonna be talking about Tommy Fury, Daniel Dubois, and Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul. I actually think it wasn't a bad card, to be honest. There's been a lot of shows I've watched on a Saturday night that have been a lot worse, and I would say, for the most part, action-packed. Action-packed boxing. I enjoyed it. It was actually a good show. I enjoyed the boxing. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. It was good to see two Brits fighting in America. The last time we had a Brit making a debut in America, that was a heavyweight. That didn't work out too well. That was Anthony Joshua. This time around it was Daniel Dubois, and wow, what a performance he put on. That is how you make a debut. Before that, let's talk about Tommy Fury and that fight against the lightweight. I mean, the guy fought the lightweight that he fought, who actually ended up fighting at cruiserweight. So lightweight or welterweight, who's fighting at cruiserweight. You know, we have to call a spade as a spade. And if his last name was not Fury, nobody would care about Tommy Fury. If I'm being honest with you, he had 12 amateur fights, and then he fought a guy who had a record of 0-1. And then afterwards says the performance was scrappy. He couldn't knock out this guy, Anthony. I can't remember the guy's name now. It's just Anthony Taylor, is it? And for me, the whole performance looked raggedy. And you're thinking, this guy's a small guy, a very small guy. You couldn't put this guy away, couldn't knock him out. And you're thinking, well, where are we going with this? Where's this going? So I'm now getting a bit fed up, and I'm getting a bit annoyed that I'm getting a little annoyed in boxing when I see these guys that have had little amateur pedigree, a little amateur background, right, or fight 10, 15, a handful of fights, and then afterwards they use that as an excuse as to why their performance was so shocking. Oh, give me some time. I've only had 12 amateur fights. Well, if you only had 12 amateur fights, what the hell are you signing a contract with Showtime for? When you sign a contract with Showtime, as far as I'm concerned, you better step up and deliver. You see, the problem is you can't have your cake and eat it, as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to jump the queue and you are not going to get the right amateur pedigree and spend years in the amateurs and at least get at least 100 fights under your belt and fight in a major competition, if it's not a world championship, then a European championships or Commonwealth championship, or at least represent your country, or at least win an ABA. At least if you do one of those things, then fine. I might then afterwards say, you know what, at least he did something in the amateurs. But when you jump at the amateurs, you fight 6 fights or 12 fights in amateur, you turn pro, and then you sign a contract with Showtime, and then you come out and you have to end the fight and say, against a guy you really should have knocked out, then you come out and say, oh, well, please bear with me, it's a work in progress. No. There's no work in progress. If you're a work in progress, you should not be on Showtime, as far as I'm concerned. Should be on Showtime, and in that sort of a situation, you need to be learn your trade, go and fight and do your call behind closed doors, learn your trade, learn on the road, and then when you've had 20, 15, big 20 fights, let's see you then. Let's unveil you then. Let's not see you now when you look worse than some amateurs. Do you understand? I really don't want to be seeing. I don't really want to be seeing that. For me, that's just poor. And as we go on to, we'll talk about Jake Paul afterwards. Same applies to him as well. I'm not interested. Let me bring the comments in as I'm going by. Let's see this now. Damien says, "Is it just me? I never know when Warren cards are on until some tweet about them during the card." Yeah, well, like I said before, when you talk about Frank Warren, when you want promotion, you go to Eddie. When you want substance, you go to Frank. In terms of if you want management, Frank. If you want to get money quickly, earn cash quickly, but get a crash course boxing career, you go to Eddie. That's what it is. Tommy Fury is almost similar to Paul in the way he's gotten where he is without building through fights. I was just going to mention that. So you read my mind. Taylor's a fight 140 a few years back. Small guy. Yes. Camber Hatton's another. Yes. I don't want to see it. I'm fed up of it. If they're going to fight, if you're going to give them that highlight, if you're going to give them that clout, if you're going to give people watching them and you're going to get lots of people watching that stuff, then at least make it decent. At least say, you know what? We're going to put you on a card and you're going to get thousands or millions of people going to be watching you. At least you look good on the eye. You look like you know what you're doing. Not you're trying to fiddle something together and trying to make it happen on the night. You see, because it's not going to happen that way. You know what I mean? And it was embarrassing. And when the Americans start saying you stunk the joint out, that's not really good, because when the Americans start saying you stunk a joint out, it's hard for you to recover from that when the Americans just dismiss you. And it was difficult as it was, because he's not only just coming out of the shadows of Tyson as his brother, but he's coming out of his cousin, Huey. Do you understand? So Huey might have put on some performances that have not been great, but at least he's been fighting world-class opposition. Do you understand? This guy fought a guy who was fighting 140 pounds, as somebody quite rightly said a few years ago. So to me, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it when you're at that level and you're raking in the money. Well, you know what? Okay, I tell you what. If you're going to make those excuses and say, well, I've only had 12 amateur fights, bear with me. I said, I tell you what, we'll bear with you if you bear with us. Let's knock off half the price for the pay-per-view, all right? And if you put on a whack performance, you refund us half the money. And say, yeah, we'll bear with you, but guess what? You give us half the money back, because that was bullshit. If we're being frank, I'm being honest, and being completely, to be fair, you understand? Now, Jake Paul's a little different because he fought Tyron Woodley, and Tyron Woodley at least was a UFC champion, came with some credibility, he had some knockout power. Yeah, I know he's old and stuff, but still he had some reputation there. Who the hell was Anthony Taylor? You understand what I'm saying? There's going to be a problem. Now, when he goes back to the UK, what's he going to do? Jake Paul doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want any of that. Not because I actually think Jake Paul could beat Tommy Fury. I don't think Fury, from what I've seen of him, I don't think he's a guy. I think he's a guy that likes to dish it out. I don't get the impression he's one of those guys that wants to take it and come back and fight. I don't get it. I don't feel that from him. But I wait to be proven wrong. But that last fight he had before he fought Anthony Taylor, that fight did not impress me. That guy, he came out and fought the Scotsman. He put a couple on Tommy's chin, and he didn't seem to like it very much. And that's at that level. So God forbid if Jake Paul starts winging them big right hands in. The difference between Tyron Woodley and Tommy Fury is that Tyron Woodley, a lot of people will not take into consideration. He's fought a lighter weight, so you'll see all them shots. Tyron Woodley's probably seeing all them shots coming. He's seen all them shots coming in because of his fought with guys who's throwing punches a lot faster than him. That's one of the beauties you have when you move up in weight. Unlike Tommy Fury, as big as he is, he's not going to get out of the way and then punches that Tyron Woodley was able to get out of the way of. He's going to get nailed with big shots. So I'm not trying to run Tommy Fury down. Do you understand? But I don't, he's a boxer, and all the respect in the world of him. Pure kudos for him to go out there and do what he did. But as one person says, that's what small hall's for. That's why, you see, even when you go back to Freddie Flintoff, the cricketer, yeah, that got a lot of people cheered for that first big fight between Flintoff, and I get it. Former cricketer, turning pro. He got McGuigan. I think it was a McGuigan card. I get that. I understand that because it was a one-off, and after he almost got dropped, well, did get dropped in that fight. It was so, it was entertaining because I actually work in the sport of cricket, so it was entertaining to see somebody come from the world of cricket into the world of boxing. But you didn't see Freddie Flintoff after that, and I would have some serious, strong words to Tommy Fury to go away, learn your trade, and then come back 10 fights later, new and improved. Because at the moment, after what the Americans said to you, there are not a lot of guys that get away with when the Americans say to you, you're garbage or you stunk the joint out. Not a lot of fighters come back from that. And if they do, they have to go through war. And here's an example, Vitaly Klitschko. When he fought in America and he fought against Chris Bird and he did his shoulder, and Vitaly retired on his stool because he had a rotator cuff injury. And people said he quit. That stuck with Vitaly so much. So when he had that war with Lennox Lewis, and people said he'd quit the first time Lennox hit him, and he stood there and took them uppercuts, and that's where Vitaly Klitschko's career got restarted. That fight, he had to go for a war with Lennox Lewis, a real war. His eye battered his, had the uppercut lift his head from his shoulders, to have the uppercut thrown at him, and to take that and to go for war with Lennox Lewis. That's what he had to do to convince the American public, you know what, this guy's serious. So Tommy Fury, wherever you are in the world at this minute in time, Love Island expert and all the rest of it, Pinup Boy, whatever, Golden Boy, you're going to have to go through hell to put it right with the Americans. No amount of your dad saying, oh, boy's doing well. None of that's going to flow with the Americans. They don't give a damn. The Americans can be brutal, and they've been brutal to their own. I remember they said about Evander Holyfield, they said he had a personality bypass operation because Evander Holyfield wasn't like Mike Tyson. So when Mike got thrown behind bars, Evander Holyfield was the heavyweight champion of the world, and they said he didn't have much of a personality. Mike was quite opposite. Mike said what he wanted to do, when he wanted to, how he wanted it, and was completely crazy. And the media liked Mike because Mike gave them something to look at. So I don't know. For me, the verdict is out on Tommy Fury, completely out. And I wouldn't have minded so much if he said, you know what, didn't put on a good performance tonight, wasn't great, and left it as that. But bear with me. No, I'm not being with you. People who paid hard-earned money to watch that, people who pay pay-per-view to watch that, don't have to bear with you. They have a right to ask for a refund. So I'm just saying, if you're going to use that example, then I think that's kind of what I'm thinking there. All right, moving on. I think the next man, Daniel Dubois, how to come back. After people said that Dubois quit with the eye situation, he's come back. He's got a knockout over Dinu. And now he's come out and blasted this Italian out and around. Let me tell you something. That was an exciting minute and a half of boxing, or 2 minutes, because Dubois came out from the first round. I mean, he really enjoyed the American experience. And I remember, and if you go back and look at it, when they were doing the face-off, just before they were about to fight, and like Dubois kind of bit down his gums, said, yeah, Tonight you're getting it. You could see it. And he was determined. And it was such a refreshing thing to see that young man go out there and absolutely destroy the Italian. Was his record padded? Probably. Was he I wouldn't say that guy was a stiff. Anybody who said that Italian was a stiff does not know what they're talking about. That guy, because Dubois hit so damn hard, right? That guy actually came to throw punches. A stiff would have got hit with the first shot and gone over and not got up. That guy got up after Dubois hit him with some thunderous punches. He got up. He tried to fight back. He even clunked Dubois in the first round with either a good left hook or good right hand. So those people who say that he fought a stiff, they don't know boxing. That guy came to give it a go. A stiff, like I said, would then take the first shot, rolled over, and it'd be good night. So I give that guy kudos. And all those guys who say he's a stiff, let me see you stand up to Daniel Dubois' right hand for a second. You know? Now, it was exciting to see him blast somebody out like that, and great. But, and here's the but, he did get clunked with a big right hand or big left hook coming in, and he got clunked with other punches as well. And in the heavyweight division, you can't afford to be taking those kind of chances in the heavyweight division. Today, it paid off. But let's just say he's doing that against Andy Ruiz. He's doing it against a Deontay Wilder. Do you see what I'm saying there? You walking onto shots like that, you could be on your back. So defense for Dubois is something that's going to be very important. Because the young man, when he does that, all he's learning to do is knock guys out. So there's no in between. If you look at Bruno's career, Bruno had a situation where he was knocking guys out. Frank Bruno, I'm talking about. He was knocking guys out just like that, how Dubois is doing it. And then he come against a guy called Jumbo Cummings. Go and check that video out. Jumbo Cummings hit Frank with a right hand over the top. And Frank literally just... How do I describe it? He just malfunctioned. Just in the middle of the ring. Because he got clunked with a good right hand. He malfunctioned in the middle of the ring. Frank just shut down. I don't know how he got through that fight. But Dubois got that same sort of Frank Bruno making of fighting guys that you can knock over, and then any guy puts up sort of resistance, you kind of fall to pieces. I hope that Dubois is guided. I heard they're talking about Trevor Bryant as a potential fight. Now I can tell you now, and it's an exclusive, having spoken to Mike Tyson's former trainer, Stacey McKinley, who currently trains Trevor Bryant, he says there's no money in that fight. That was before Dubois knocked out the Italian. But he said there's no money in the fight. But, I mean, no disrespect, but where's Trevor Bryant going to go with that belt? I mean, I think Trevor Bryant and Dillian Whyte is an obvious fight to make. I think Trevor Bryant versus Joe Joyce is an obvious fight to make. And I think that the Daniel Dubois fight, I think Daniel Dubois should go and try and fight Trevor Bryant, to be honest. I think he should. You know, I don't know if he'll beat Trevor Bryant, because Trevor Bryant can box. And he has some sneaky power himself. So he's got a good jab at him, Bryant. He's got good boxing ability. That's no... if he hits Bryant, I don't know if Bryant will be able to take it. If he hits Bryant, I don't know. But I think it's a good fight. Interesting fight. An interesting fight. Same excuses for bad performance, still learning, back to drawing, back in the gym, only had 7 fights, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't think it's acceptable. But if we allow it, then Ruben says that's what a small horse for. I agree. What adjustments does Yard need for the Arthur rematch? The first thing he needs to know is how to slip a jab, block a jab, and counter a jab. He needs to know how to slip the jab, block the jab, and counter the jab. So when a person's throwing a jab, the right hand over the top. Or slip under, throw the left hook. Do something different. Don't just put your hands up, the guard up there, and follow a man around the ring. The second adjustment that Yard has to do is cut the corners off on Arthur. Shut the range down quickly. Don't follow Arthur around the ring. Cut the corners off. Don't give Arthur any room to move, and work the body early. Invest in the body early, and then and invest early to the body. Invest early. Double up, triple up your jab against Arthur, and put Arthur's back against the ropes. Do not allow Arthur to get into any sort of rhythm for this fight. Shut the exit door out, because all the time he was circling away all the time, and try and walk Arthur onto that right hand. He showed he could hurt Arthur in the fight when he actually opened up on him in that 12th round. So he needs to start faster, Yard. But I think Yard's concern is if he starts faster, he may gas. So yeah, but it's a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. I said that Arthur would beat him the first time round. I don't know what happened second time round, to be honest. Yard, Dubois, and Tommy all fought bums this weekend. What's Frank playing at? I think all those guys have got big fights lined up. If I know Frank, they're big fights lined up. They're all to look spectacular. So Dubois had a fight in America. Why would he fight in America? Well, to me, that's set up a Trevor Bryant fight. Why would he be fighting Tommy Fury in America? Right, that's to set up a Jake Paul fight. And Yard is to set up Arthur fight. When you see those sort of fights happening, understand what Frank's doing. That's good management. He's making sure guys are in fights and not going to lose because they're big fights coming up very soon. So that's what's happening there. That's pretty common knowledge, to be honest, for me. Tommy Fury has learned cheating tactics from Tyson, though, i.e. that red neck crank, etc. Oh yeah, the headlock, you mean? Oh yeah, Pop Pop Bang. So they should call his name Daniel Pop Pop Bang Dubois now. Did you see Eddie ask Avazania to vacate his belt so Ben could fight for it? Yeah, typical Eddie. Typical Eddie. Tommy unable to knock out a 0-1 boxer was not a good show in America. That's what I said. And then the American said he stunk the joint out. I was listening to it on Showtime live, and Showtime did not give him any room whatsoever. Kenny, BWTM, long time no see, bro. What's going on? Have you gone into hiding with Arsenal? Because I'd be going into hiding as well. I was on a TV show last week, a live national interview, and I did the TV interview, and on the interview, I was asked about Arsenal. I was talking about cricket. I was talking about boxing, and then I talked about football. They asked me what team I supported. I said Arsenal. So, bro, we should not take celebrity cards seriously. Showtime are purely putting these events on for money. Paul Brothers are YouTube stars, same as KSI, and Fury's a celebrity from Love Island. Yeah, you say don't take it seriously, but let me tell you something. I enjoyed Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, but I'll come back onto that in a moment. Oh, here we go. Dubois runs through Bryant. Jesus Christ. Where do you come from, Ruben Guerrero? Honestly. These lot are not here for real careers. That fight was totally pointless. Frank is virtually done. Don't say that. Frank's putting these shows on because he's preparing for big fights. So I'll put my money that Dubois and Yard are going to be in big fights next. So Dubois, I think, will either fight for a world title, he'll be fighting for a world title, or he's going to be put into eliminating a big fight. As for Tommy Fury, I don't know what the hell happens with him now, because I don't think the Jake Paul fight's going to happen. I don't think the Jake Paul's fight's happening, and that's Tommy's fault. And Yard's going to fight Arthur again, so there's no secret there in that. I fancy Arthur for the rematch to Ingram. Yeah, but you've got James Cook now working with Tunde Ajayi, so that should make a difference to Yard. Should make a difference. Yeah, so let's talk about Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul. Jake Paul, who said he wanted to fight Mike Tyson. All right, mate. Well, if welterweight's buzzing you, could you imagine what Mike would do to you? Mike would kill you. The mic that fought Roy Jones would literally kill you, Jake Paul. Um, and you thought fighting Canelo. Are you? See, this is the problem we have here. You see, when we overrate people who are of limited ability, they get unstuck when they fight guys who actually can fight. See, the hype around Jake Paul, oh, he's the future of boxing, he's this and that. But you know what? I don't blame Jake Paul. Jake Paul is exposing what's wrong in the sport of boxing. You know what I blame? I blame the promoters. I blame the promoters in boxing that want to keep our big fighters, our top fighters, not fighting one another. That's who I blame. So don't blame Jake Paul. I don't blame Jake Paul at all. I'm glad Jake Paul's doing what he's doing because he's exposing boxing for what it is. It's run by crooks, one, and two, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, the promoters are not making the fights happen. They're looking after their pockets and their best interests and not the fans. So because of that, people like Jake Paul come in, who's a character, who winds people up, who's an antagonist. He's a character. There are not many characters in boxing. And he just doesn't give a damn. You understand? He doesn't care if you like him or you don't like him. He kind of gets on with it. So fair play to Jake Paul. Jake Paul's fight with Tyron Woodley was exciting. I don't care what anybody tells me. It was exciting for me. I stood up. I sat down. I sat down. As the minute that bell went, I was like this for the whole fight. Was I watching to see him get knocked out? Yeah, probably. Was I looking to see if Tyron Woodley could do it? Yeah, probably. Why? Because they were saying so much crap about Tyron Woodley. He lost his last 4 fights. But if you look at the caliber of guys he fought compared to who Jake Paul is, I mean, you know, he's lost his last 4 fights. Yeah, he's lost his last 4 fights. So his last 6 fights. He hasn't had a KO in so long. But you've seen the guys he's been fighting. I mean, you know, this guy's been a UFC champion, you know, and yes, he was 39 years old. But he looked okay as a boxer. He looked not bad. I thought he looked quite decent, Tyron Woodley. He put on a performance which I didn't quite understand because all the talk he was talking, all the things he was saying, I don't know if he got hit with a punch by Jake Paul and thought, you know what, I'm not going to rush in and finish this guy off. Because there were moments like that 4th round where I thought, you know what, Woodley's got him hurt here. He's going to let Paul punch himself out and he's going to jump on him. He hurt him in the 4th. Jake Paul went back to the corner. And then from like round 5, Jake Paul was tired. And Woodley couldn't step on the gas and finish him off. So I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't you finish him off? And then afterwards, he's talking about rematch and stuff. But I was thinking to myself, bro, you had the opportunity. You had so much energy that at the end of the fight, why didn't you put the energy to knock this guy out? And it was even more perplexing because now he had to put "I love Jake Paul" on his tattoo that into his leg or whatever. I mean, it was a perplexing. I didn't understand it. There was no go for it from Tyron Woodley. He got him hurt, but there was no right. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to get you out of there. So he kind of like, I just didn't understand the performance. Fans are saying the fight was fixed. I don't know. That 4th round didn't look fixed to me. I don't know. Did somebody say to Tyron Woodley in his call, you know what? If you hurt Jake Paul, if you rock him, don't finish him off. Because that would make sense. Because I don't understand how you've had somebody who's kind of, or a situation where your mum got disrespected, you've been disrespected, you're in there in the heat of battle. And it's very difficult. Let me tell you, it's very difficult in the heat of the battle when it's against somebody you don't like or you're trying to prove a point and you've put all the training, you put all the hard work. These people use the word fixed. It's very difficult to do that when you're in the heat of the battle and punches are flying for you to start holding punches back. Unless you both have agreed beforehand, I'm not looking to knock you out. It's very difficult in the heat of a battle to suddenly, you have to be very special to be able to hold back punches and, you know, when it's so heated and the adrenaline's flying and all these people around. Tyron Woodley is an experienced UFC fighter, yes, but he's not an experienced boxer. And boxing's a totally different situation. You know, with UFC, you've got kicks, you've got punches, you've got elbows, you've got some other things to focus on. Now you just got to look at these 2 fists. You've got all these 2 fists and the gloves and so many different things. So, and you don't want to get knocked out. You understand? And you're focusing on that. So I don't know. I don't understand how it's fixed because them punches, some of them punches that Jake Paul's trying to throw, the uppercuts, even the right hands he's trying. There was one right and he threw. I think he turned around 360. Is Jake Paul that great a boxer? No, he's not. Is he the future boxing? Hell no, he's not. But if promoters don't pull the fingers at the arse and start putting big fights on, then Jake Paul will be the future boxing because people will tune into that. It was exciting. It was, if Jake Paul is an event, I hate to say it, but Jake Paul is an event. There's Anthony Joshua, there's Canelo, there was Pacquiao, and now you've got Jake Paul. It's an event. You might not like me saying that, but don't blame Jake Paul. I give Jake Paul, well done, bro. Well done, bro. You followed the Mayweather way, and you're just doing what you're doing now. But don't go in the ring with Canelo, and don't fight Mike Tyson at any age. Don't fight Mike Tyson. Yeah, that's two. First bit essentially speaking this evening, Mr. Rubin. Jake Paul puts on better performance than Tommy Fury. Better performance than Campbell Hatton too. Oh yeah, Ingram. What are your thoughts on Lara Warrington too? Lara stops him again. Unless Lara's been bought. Lara knocks Warrington out again. What's Warrington? Lara beats him again. At this point, I don't even care. You know, there's some fights you just don't care about. I didn't care about Galahad versus Dickinson. Galahad versus Dickinson. I didn't care about that fight. I don't really now care about Ben versus Granados. And I'm even more convinced now that Ben fight, there were tickets didn't sell because now he's on the undercard of Joshua. It's a strong card. I don't know. Strong card this Saturday. Oh, Ben! I thought Ben was fighting on the undercard of Joshua. It's a strong card this Saturday. Conor, Ben, and Warrington in tough fights. I don't really care about Warrington, to be honest. Now I just don't. Lara seems very confident, and he stops him again in all his interviews. Probably will. I don't know why Warrington's going down this route again. I don't know, but I don't know. I warned people about Warrington when he joined Eddie. I said Eddie will get him stopped. Well, he's done it, isn't he? He's done it. A little bit about Deontay Wilder news. So, from what I understand and what I'm hearing, boxing fans, is that Deontay Wilder's style has been completely remodeled. The Deontay Wilder we've seen previously, we won't see again. Not from what I'm hearing. His style has been totally and utterly remodeled. We'll wait and see, but that's what I'm hearing on the grapevine. His whole style's been remodeled. So we wait and see about that. If you haven't already watched the boxing that we did a week ago from Africa, from Nigeria, do check that out as well on the channel. There's 6 hours there worth of boxing content to look at, from exhibition bouts to amateur bouts to senior to professional bouts to WBU champion fighting as well, the welterweight champion. So you can check that out as well. I'm not sure if there's anything else I really need to talk about, unless there's something that comes to mind. Yeah, I've been hiding in the trenches, bro. Arteta's put Arsenal in the mud. The relegation battle is real this year. Bottom of the league. I told you about Arteta, did I not? I told you about Arteta. I told you. Why do we not get Ancelotti? Why do we not get Rafa Benitez? Why do we not get Mancini? Why do we not get Simeone? These guys I mentioned, 4 guys I mentioned, I kept pushing for Ancelotti or Rafa Benitez. Why do we not get one of those 2 guys as managers? Why the hell did we get Arteta? Bargain bucket Arsenal. Leadership starts at the top, and you bring it in Arteta. For what? Daniel Dubois versus Bright Jennings or Jonathan Rice would be... Wow, that would be a good fight. Dubois versus Jonathan. I tell you what, I think Jonathan Rice beats Dubois. I think Jonathan Rice is too savvy for Dubois. Dubois still very much straight up bouncing, boom boom. I think he's a bit too basic. I think Rice would knock Dubois out. I honestly do. I really do. Um, would you put Dubois with Michael Hunter? I know what Michael Hunter would do with him. Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to Vlad Serenko, the unbeaten heavyweight champion, who is going to be fighting against Alexander Usmanov September 17th. Good fight. Looking forward to it. Overrating Rice. Why am I overrating Rice? Why am I overrating Rice? I'm not overrating him at all. I rate Joyce higher than Ruiz. I rate Joyce higher than Ruiz. How is Rice being overrated, mate? You don't even know boxing anyway, mate. Just go and sit in the corner somewhere. At least Rice fights decent opponents. He actually fights challenging opponents. Who's the best guy that Dubois has beaten? Let's be honest. And do you think Dubois could beat Kofi, the guy he just beat? I'd like to know if he could beat Kofi. So let me see if there's anything else. Yes, finally. Hey. This one you need to think about. Anthony Joshua, the professor of boxing. You know when you hear Lennox Lewis talk about science. When Lennox talks about science, he talks about, boxing science and getting in the kitchen and mixing it up and mixing up your punches and using lateral movement. And because you had Emmanuel Stewart there, you knew what you were getting. You knew when Stewart put the ingredients together, you knew what you were getting. Anthony Joshua talking about science and talking about, he's learning so many new things in boxing and he's going to be brain over brawn. Stop right there. The only way Anthony Joshua beats Alexander Usyk is by overpowering him. There is no way Anthony Joshua is outboxing Usyk. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. Never, ever will Anthony Joshua be able to outbox Alexander Usyk. Hell no, doesn't happen. Because he's just not that good a boxer. He just isn't. Not to that level. People said the other day that I was being a Joshua supporter. Absolute nonsense. I think if Joshua's going to win the fight, he blasts Usyk out of there. He blasts him out of there, but he does not, or maybe he grinds him out of there, but I do not see him outboxing Usyk. I can't see him out jabbing Usyk or, dominating Usyk behind a jab and Usyk just letting him jab him. Hell no, not happening. I can't see Joshua doing that. Sorry. Why? Because Joshua leaves himself open to the left side of him leaves himself open, right? And Joshua's most vulnerable when he's actually going for a knockout. That's how I knew Ruiz would beat him. So the best way to beat Joshua is to when he throws punches, you throw punches as well. When Joshua's engaging, you engage with Joshua. When Joshua's actually standing back, doing that, and he's using the jab, he's all right. That is where Joshua's safe, when he's doing that. As soon as Joshua starts coming to throw punches, he opens himself up, leaves himself open for the left hook. Dangerous. And Usyk has got a decent left hand on him. Not saying he's the world's biggest puncher, but Joshua's not known to having, he's not exactly known for an iron jaw. So I don't like what I'm hearing from Joshua. I don't like it at all. I don't like the casualness. I don't like the sort of like, I'm the king of the castle sort of stuff. Usyk's nothing to worry about. I've got it under control. I don't like it. I just don't like it. You know, it's a total Usyk is a totally different proposition to Kubrat Pulev or Charles Martin. Totally different proposition. You know, Usyk's coming. He's coming to become heavyweight champion of the world. He's an ambitious guy, and he's going to come with ambition. You know, the only thing I think Joshua's got to do for me, if I'm Anthony Joshua's team, I say to Anthony Joshua this: let Usyk's own ambition beat him. Let his ambitions beat him. I'd be looking to throw uppercuts at Usyk, work his body, uppercuts through the middle. Do you understand? Would you be shocked if Usyk stopped AJ? No, not really. Not really. I wouldn't be. Because it's just the blase sort of, oh yeah, I'm the king of the castle. You watch AJ talking, I'm the king of the castle. You know, we've been working in the camp, and he sounds like he's a professor. It's like the Incredible Hulk trying to be intelligent, but we know that the best Hulk is just savage. It's just. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to knock Anthony Joshua, but some things just don't fit. It don't make sense. I do believe he's a maturing champion. That might be what it is. He may be a maturing champion, growing in confidence and in stature. He should no longer be learning on the job. However, Usyk by far is the best technical boxer he's faced. Yeah, I get he's trying to be something. Maybe he's not. That's it. That's it. I'm not feeling a lot of genuine. I'm not feeling that genuine stuff with Joshua. I'm feeling this sort of like, I don't know, because what he needs to be is that man, the man of the street. He needs to be a real bad man. That's how you take someone like Usyk. He needs to be a real roughneck, go out there and rough him up, manhandle him. That's how he has to deal with Usyk. If he goes out there trying to box Usyk and trying to stand there and show that he can box Usyk, he's going to get himself knocked out. He'll walk onto the left hand. And if that happens, it serves Joshua right. So it'll serve him right, because that's not his game plan. His game plan is to back him up, beat him up, as my trainer would say. Back him up, beat him up. Get that jab, push Usyk to the ropes, and keep him on them ropes. Do not allow Usyk to take center of ring and start boxing you, because if he does that, then it's problems. I'm not saying he's going to box rings around Joshua, because he didn't box rings around Derek Chisora. So I don't get this story about Usyk boxing rings around Joshua, because he couldn't box rings around Derek Chisora. You know, Derek Chisora's been Kubrat Pulev's that boxed Derek Chisora. Caballero boxed rings around Derek Chisora. Where's Caballero, by the way? Yeah, he actually boxed rings around Chisora. But Usyk never came close to boxing rings around. It was almost life and death against Chisora. So I don't know. I don't see what people are seeing about Usyk at heavyweight. Cruiserweight, yeah, fine. Not a heavyweight. Not seeing it. And nobody knows how the extra poundage is going to help Usyk. If he's going to help Usyk, if it slows Usyk down a touch, then it slows him down to get hit by Joshua. And if he slows him down to get hit by Joshua, he's more likely to get knocked out. And James Ellis Bashir, the trainer of Alexander Usyk, told us exclusively on BWTM Sports he wanted Usyk to come in 214, 215 pounds. I think he said 219 max. 219 max. That's not what Usyk's team. I think he's coming in 230, 235. So it's anyone's guess how Usyk's going to be. So let me end the show off. Thank you so much for watching BWTN Sports as always. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section. Let's get out of here. Take care.